No.
So, the wonderful thing about VLC Player.
200% volume.
Yes, that means we can actually hear what the fuck's going on in this video. Because I intentionally record, whenever I play on this Mac, I use ScreenFlow. So you can set the volume at which your audio records. So I set it intentionally low just so I don't have distorting audio, destroying my speakers and shit sometimes.
Fair enough.
Yep. So 3, 2, 1, sync.
Did I do good?
You did good.
Did I? Ah, thank you.
Welcome, viewers. I'm Kyle Arsenal from 2-dash.com, also known as Thoughtful Salt, to my YouTube viewers. And this is Captain Obvious.
I'm the clever one.
He's the smart one, self-proclaimed. And look at this lovely 2D art style we have going on here.
See, looking at this, it doesn't look awful so far.
It doesn't. It doesn't, does it?
No, but I've heard things, so I mean, we're kind of foreshadowing already. So.
You shall see.
Yeah.
We are playing Violett. This is a point-and-click adventure done by an indie company.
I thought it was Violett.
Violett?
I don't know.
Violett. Violet. Tomato. Ricciardo.
Okay.
Wait, is that how it goes?
Yeah, it's kind of got like a Lemony Snicket vibe right now, I think.
Mm-hmm, yeah. The thing I thought at first was actually Alice in Wonderland. You'll see how much that comes into this game.
Yeah. That's always the
default mode whenever someone escapes into a fantasy world.
Yeah, like, I've never understood why they use like for instance like Wonderland or Oz or something like that. Like, you think if you're gonna inevitably be adding things to these fantasy worlds that you could just make your own.
I just want to point out how many different styles of animation this little girl goes through. I mean, I thought she was a boy at one point, like several times, and her nose, you can tell.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, her nose is so different. Look at that. Yeah,
Art direction is a thing.
Yes, it is. Ugh, and here is the plot device. This is literally the only...
The MacGuffin?
Yeah.
Does it actually like come into the game, or is it just like in this cutscene and then never spoken of again?
No, it's spoken of again, but... Ugh. Violett.
Okay, I guess I thought there was an E at the end, so it's not Violett.
You know that lovely 2D art style? It's gone! And that's the villain of the story, by the way.
Okay.
This is the only time you'll see her in the game.
Oh, well...
Except for one moment, and that is way too late. Look at her. She looks like... when I first saw this, it reminded me of early CGI Pixar movies. Like, you remember that first...
Oh, yeah, with the creepy baby?
The baby.
Oh, my God. If anyone hasn't seen that, look it up.
This is on maximum settings. This was the highest graphical settings I could put this. And it looks like this.
See, the backgrounds aren't awful. Like, it definitely screams indie game, but it doesn't...
No, this game definitely does have some fantastic 2D backgrounds. Yeah. It's just why... When
you
already had a decent 2D style in the cutscenes.
Yeah, it's so jarring.
Yeah.
It's... Well, I guess...
I guess I can offer no defense for this. Oh, this girl also apparently now has psychic powers.
I mean, you don't get psychic powers when you're transported into Wonderland? I mean,
into alternate dimensions? Yeah. I don't know. It's just a...
yeah.
Oh, and you'll see throughout the game those psychic powers actually happen to be wildly inconsistent. And that interferes with several gameplay and graphical puzzle elements too.
Oh, when you you've done something before in another puzzle and then suddenly
it won't work.
That exact solution would work perfectly in another puzzle, but you can't do it?
Yes.
Oh.
I guess I should explain some more things. This game also has a hidden... You know those hidden object games? This game has a heavy emphasis of that.
Right.
You see those little...
You mean like the I Spy books? Like the hidden object?
Almost. You have to click on objects on the screen and collect them, basically.
Okay.
Like a regular iOS, Android hidden object game where you find stuff on the screen.
Escape the room or whatever?
Yeah. Well, no, not Escape the Room.
I'll be honest, I've never played it. I just assumed what it was and then assumed it applied to this, so...
Now, I am using my psychic powers to manipulate this paperclip. And at this point in the game, I'm obviously trying to experiment with the mechanics to see what's working and trying to find a logical solution to this puzzle. And then I realized, hey, I can click on these orbs. This is the hidden object aspect of the game.
Right.
You have to find these orbs, the purpose of which I'll reveal to you later when it becomes necessary. But let's just say that they have little to no practical application within the game itself. You're just doing this just because.
Which just is it like a collection side quest or something?
It's not even a side quest. It's just something you do.
Oh.
Just because.
Well, that's fun.
I guess it gives us an excuse to look at some fantastic 2D background art, but then you realize, oh, wait. This is useless. These are useless.
Oh.
My God.
Guess we're gonna have to talk about other things while we watch you screw around with these paper clips.
Yeah, so in that mind, I brought a few topics.
Excellent.
The Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon. That's kind of... okay, it's not that relevant, I'll admit, but it's definitely cool. I've never gone through it myself, but I have read a few Lovecraft's short stories here and there.
Yeah, I don't know why I brought this book into this conversation.
I don't know, but it is a distraction.
It is a distraction. We will be needing plenty of those because this video goes on for an hour and 20 fucking minutes.
And he's in this cage the whole time.
Yes, I'm in this cage fighting against the Spider Queen and the wiles of shrunken natures.
It's riveting.
It's riveting stuff.
Right.
This could almost have been written by Shakespeare himself. Oh my God. Oh my God. The insect is talking to me. Here I am still trying to figure out what to do with this fucking paper clip. I'm trying to rub it over the Spider Queen to see if it kills her.
See, I'm looking at this right now, and I have to admit, if I were playing this game right now, I would have no direction. I don't exactly. Then again, I haven't really been paying attention. Did you just short circuit the wire by putting the paper clip against it?
Yep, I did. Actually, a lot of the puzzles in this game are actually fairly logical in retrospect.
Yeah, in retrospect, yeah.
But before you solve them, you have no... And look,
what was that?
We're just teleported out of another dimension into another room.
Okay.
I think... Yeah?
Interesting.
Okay. You got the world's creepiest teapot right there, and this is where the Alice in Wonderland kind of stuff immediately struck me.
Definitely relevant. Yeah. The backgrounds are... I think they're like fantastic. I mean, there's still a bit of like inconsistencies. You can tell, or I don't want to just assume this is true, but it definitely does look like even objects within these paintings were done by different people.
I mean, it becomes more glaring in later stuff, but this screen actually I think is most emblematic of the. Is one of the most emblematic of the entire game because it demonstrates so many of the elements that make this game what it is.
What it is.
The useless hidden object, there's actually... It demonstrates a lot of the animation problems, and that's the big problem I have with this game is the animations. And you'll see why. Oh, listen to what this girl says whenever she refuses to do something too. And you'll hear it a couple times throughout this game.
Oh, sure.
It should be coming up in a couple seconds. I have to admit, I had this video stored in my hard drive for about 3 fucking months. At the very least, waiting for your computer to fix itself.
Well, it ended up not fixing itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to live off my phone for a little bit there.
Here's the most obnoxious thing about this game. You saw her scratch her chin, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things she'll do when she refuses to do something, and you know the animation? It freezes the game for 3 to 4 seconds each time.
Oh,
there's the sound.
Kind of like that. Wait, so you mean it stops you from doing anything, and it's just like, hey, look at this animation? Oh, jeez.
It becomes so obnoxious. I flat out like sped up the videos of certain sections. That is the most annoying sound in the world. Actually, I did a Let's Play for the TDS channel. It was like a quick play first impressions video. The sound annoyed me enough to the point where I called her a whiny little bitch.
I mean, it's not something that like it's not really getting on my nerves right now. Probably because I haven't heard it,
and because you haven't played this game
over and over. Yeah. I assume like it's always the small things like that in games that just like at first it's like okay, whatever, but then the game designer, I guess they don't realize that it's going to be a common thing, and they don't realize that you're going to be hearing this like soundbite that's 0.2 seconds long like 300 times, and it's going to take up like 20 minutes of your life, just this constant...
It reminds me of it reminds me of certain games where the main character write quips a lot, like Bubsy 3D for an infamous example, and you would hear the same quip over and over and over.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how did the game designers not realize this would not get old over 8 hours of game?
I actually heard that was one of the downfalls of the Deadpool game.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of the jokes were just kind of repetitive, and I guess that's kind of like a problem of humor in video games.
Yeah.
Anyways, is that the humor is always done through dialogue. It seems. I mean, I'm not proposing some sort of solution. It's hard to make, you know, a game funny through gameplay at least. And you know, you can have scripted jokes and you can have this and that, but after a certain time, I mean, like if your character is constantly spouting the same joke, like
yes. Did you see that? That was an amazing display of athletic grace from our heroine here, or is it hero? I can't quite tell sometimes.
Yeah.
But you saw how badly the 3D model jived with the 2D.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you look at it right here. I mean, just to go off on a tangent, I guess. Like the lighting of the models, it doesn't look like it's. It doesn't look like it's done.
No.
It doesn't look like it's finished.
No, it's also like it stays the same throughout the game, but the lighting in the scenes always changes.
Yeah.
So it always looks out of place, and it's only in the really dark areas where she actually looks like she fits in.
Right. Well, that's because she has blackout shadows. Like if you see that, it's a problem with a lot of games where, you know, light doesn't necessarily behave the way it does in real life in a game engine, especially if you're rendering, you know, so many frames per second in real time. So you don't get this light bounce. You don't get all this the scatter across the scene. And yeah, I know it's way ahead of these indie games, but like at least put in 2 lights. Like
yeah, but it's just weird how you see what I mean when I say that she looks like that early Pixar CGI. I actually, that was one of the main focal points I wrote in my review where I gave this like a 1 star out of 5. It was like, yeah, she kind of looks like early CGI.
Yeah.
Like really, really badly done early CGI. It's a shame because you can obviously tell the art designers had some talent within them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing you see about games like this. I'm always like it's always fun to be super negative, and you know, it's great to be cynical, and people like that stuff. But it's still hard for me being, you know, I've worked with games, I've worked on game projects, I've worked on indie games too. I know what it's like. I know it's not easy behind the scenes, and it's definitely not easy to make a game. But you know, this is someone's baby, right? Like you have to say to yourself, it's like somebody.
Thanks, Dad,
like
for that Facebook notification.
Yeah, so many people, like so many games don't even get to the finished stage, and like it takes a lot of effort to keep everyone on these little indie projects.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a game like this, and it's like they took the time to finish it. Why did they stop halfway? What you guys like?
Oh, you'll see how. Like, this is the best. I think this is one of the best looking rooms in the entire place. It's even got one of the more unique and more interesting puzzles. The puzzle actually works logically.
Right.
Like, you have to get that fly into that bottle to distract that eyeball.
Yeah,
to prevent
yeah.
him from.
Yeah, that's a decent puzzle. I'm
Yeah, but I only got. It only seemed like great in retrospect. Like, I mean, because you'd never be able to really. It'd take a lot of trial and error.
I did see the eye following it around the screen, but I do got to admit, like with Machinarium, it started off very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Very, you know, get the arm, put the arm on. It had, what the?
Yeah, look how well she contrasts with that background.
Where did this background come from?
It's an Escher room.
Yeah, but you were...
Yeah, I know.
You were just out in, like, somewhere not, like this.
You already knew this was an Alice in Wonderland based game. Why would it try and be stylistically consistent?
Okay, yeah, but if you're gonna jump from one room to the other like this, you can't do it so jarringly. Like that's a massive proponent of game design. You gotta have some not an internal consistency necessarily, but you gotta kind of at least transition from one thing to the next.
Yeah, it's like this recent thing I read about film editing. It's like they always have to make at least 30-degree cuts, or else it just doesn't look natural.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like one of those things, except translated to game design. And now you're in a library.
See, this would have made more sense from the last background show up in.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not as much, but it just seems like it's far too much jumping around. I keep expecting to see some sort of hub world or overview, but we have no sense of direction. Okay, fine, we're lost or whatever, but there's still no establishing shot. Like,
No. I would just like to bring up the example of Child of Light, which I just finished, and we'll finish the review for it hopefully after we're done this. But all the locations are connected logically.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you can tell where you're going in a 2D space in a 3D-ish world because there's lots of worlds in there, but you can always sense where each world leads into the next due to subtle implications of background shots, like master shots. It just works better. This game just throws you into so many absurd scenarios and situations. I mean, to a certain extent, you can kind of forgive it because you're intended to read it as a nightmarish kind of dream world.
Yeah,
but at
but
the same
it's
time, even dreams have their own sort of
logical consistency or
they
internal
flow.
consistency.
They flow within each other.
Yeah.
You don't have a dream just jump into something else entirely most of the time.
I'll give another example with the Machinarium. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, or someone's gonna,
Jump
be
on you in the
extremely
credits,
mad
go
at
like,
me.
"Hey!"
Yeah, I've never been yelled at in comments before. So if someone could just do that, I would feel very nice.
He likes to be yelled at,
Yes.
is what he's saying. I, on the other hand, will fucking hunt you down if you yell at me.
Yeah, he can take criticism. Anyways, back to the back to my little story. At the beginning of Machinarium, you get that establishing shot. Like you're still unfamiliar with the locale. It's still an alien world, but you start off in this junkyard, and in the background you can see this excellent just this Monty Python-esque cityscape in the background, and you can definitely is this puzzle like really hard?
No. Here's the thing. I actually quit out of this game several times. I actually thought it was clever because there was this little speech balloon that popped up above her head only once. You can never get it back, and I thought that was the hint to solving the puzzle. So I actually meted myself by actually going and watching the video footage. See. And pausing it, seeing if I entered those. I thought that was the code. I thought it was so clever for coming up with that. And here's me literally spending at least 20 minutes.
No. That would be too obvious. This is only the beginning of the game. You can't be expected it to be simple puzzles.
Yeah, but I sped this video up 20 times. This is a 20 times speeded up video.
Well, we can just watch. I guess we can talk about this. This is what I would refer to as trial and error game design, and it is
but
not
wait till you see how this puzzle is solved. You will be going like, "Oh, fuck you."
Oh, is it like super?
No.
Like,
this isn't even the worst part of this room.
okay.
Like I literally I quit this game for a 2-month period before finishing it. After
Is it just a red herring? Like what's the matter with it?
Okay, you see how some of these symbols are on the book,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Now look around this room.
Right. Okay. I see this moon.
Yeah.
I see that moon, but that there's two moons. And I don't know if there's a...
I eventually caught on that you had to actually go down to this room, out of sight of the other symbols, and look at all the symbols and figure out how they matched up to the symbols on the book. Now, that's logical. I can forgive that to a certain extent, right?
Right.
Like maybe, I should just observe my environment a bit more.
It's not that the puzzles are necessarily even that bad. They're just starting off. They don't give you...
A frame of
I'm just
reference.
gonna keep talking about this. Like, yeah, they don't give you anywhere, like... There's no tone that's set. Like, it starts off, and immediately you don't know the theme of the puzzle. And that seems like, yeah, you need puzzle variation in your games, but there is a consistency.
There, I solved the puzzle.
There you go.
Yay!
How was the answer solved? I missed that.
You had to like I said, observe the symbols in the book room below, and then just like select the symbols that are on the book. I didn't figure that out. I spent over an hour trying to figure that out.
Right.
An hour.
Hey.
This is the third puzzle in the game.
Jeez. But yeah, you need to start off with the most basic concepts your game has, and then work your way up from here. Right now, it's just a scatter shot. It's just, we had this idea for a puzzle, now we're going to put this puzzle just in, scattered in there. Oh, and we also had an idea for a background.
I was also thinking about it. Like I played a few puzzle games since this, like in my reviewing capacity for the site, and all those puzzles they have their underlying set of logical mechanics
Right, yeah.
too, like how you solve these puzzles. This game just has so many different ideas.
Yeah, even though it is logical in retrospect, it's always so far it does look like it's been trial and error and trial and error.
This
More
next
trial
puzzle,
and error.
This next puzzle is what's you're gonna eat those words. You're gonna eat those words.
Uh-oh.
Yes, this game literally kicks my ass. Here I am figuring out that you actually need to insert the key into
See, this
the
is
door.
something they needed to. Oh, maybe I missed it.
In fairness, yes, they did indicate that you had to use your knapsack for certain items.
Okay, but was that already? Has that already? been a
that was
puzzle?
just me being a dumbass right
Okay,
there.
fair enough. I can't just.
And that
rail
happens
on
fairly
this game
often
for
to me
everything.
sometimes in games, to my shame.
Yeah.
But not everyone can be a genius like you, Brendan.
I'm sorry. It's a gift.
It's a gift. Okay, so the gist of this puzzle is you have to use the weather to build bridges.
Okay.
And I speed this up so many times because this took me 2 hours to figure out.
Okay.
So I used that seems logical, right?
An
Space
ice bridge?
equals cold plus rain equals ice. So now here's one of the first dick moves the game pulls. There's actually a third book up there, which you wouldn't have noticed until you walked up there.
It's hidden in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a scumbag move. There's nothing to lead the eye there. There is no light. Like, they're just like a beam of light
Yeah.
could have been.
Yeah,
Just all they need.
anything to indicate that. But here's where I really had an issue with this game. I actually quit out of this game several times because I was pissed at this.
Rage quit. I could just imagine you, the way you get at Call of Duty and just getting that way with this game.
Actually,
just,
I have gotten better with Call of Duty.
Really?
Whenever I get close to mad, I just quit. I'm getting
there you
better
go.
at this gaming rage thing.
there you go.
But here, I actually had it in my head that a combination of all three of these books would actually create a bridge for me up there.
Yeah. Well,
And
this
you
is.
would think that too. Like the purpose of this puzzle is to solve this little weather bridge, and I thought like a certain combination of an angle would create something more. So I spent over an hour fiddling with the various books and stuff, and all the combinations, and I was like,
Jesus.
ah,
Oh my.
yeah.
Anyways, I did.
Here's me looking up the walkthrough because I was like, fuck this.
You're not a true gamer. You're not a true gamer if you have to look up the strategy.
You know,
guide.
I'm a game reviewer. I have to get through these games in order to review them.
I know.
So
I'm preparing you for the comments.
here's the solution to the puzzle. You actually have to go back down and talk to the kids and tell them to bring blocks up to build a bridge up.
Oh,
That is
that.
fuck. Oh, I'm angry thinking about it. That blew my mind. Oh, and here's after I finish that puzzle, here's one of the other rooms in that Escher room. And here, you know that lovely 2D style of animation? Here's pretty much the only other instance in the entire game where it is harkened back to.
That water drop's not falling properly. Sorry, that's really distracting. That's
See, here's another thing about this game. What is the purpose of the parents in this game symbolically?
Oh, and now you're suddenly just back to the stairs room.
Well,
this
is an edited video, so I had to jump around a few times.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. All right.
Attacked by.
What happens?
Look at those things. They're not even. They're made up to be a threat, and he just lightly nudges in their direction, and they die.
They're trying to attack you.
No, him.
Oh, him. I don't know. Oh, I see. Oh, is this just a thing playing in the background?
The puzzle for this room is you have to prevent these spiders from attacking him.
Okay.
You just have to find a way to do that within this room.
Right.
And this thing over here, you would assume would be connected with it in some way. It's not. It's an entirely different puzzle in an entirely different room that's connected to that teapot on the right. And you wouldn't assume that. A logical person would go into this room thinking, oh, I gotta do something with this teapot. Maybe that's what.
Direction that this game is missing. It's missing art direction. It looks like it's missing gameplay direction. It's missing.
It's
narrative.
missing.
It's missing narrative direction.
Are you saying it's missing everything needed to be a good game?
If there is a direction of the type, it looks like it is missing it.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Machinarium with that opening shot, I know I stopped mid-sentence, but the whole thing is, even though, yeah, it does jump from one locale to the next and you never really know what to expect, you've already seen, there's a city there. This is the setting. So now when you're walking through, it doesn't, and you go from one place to the next, it's not jarring. It's like, okay, well, the city it's a mess. Everything is, jury rigged.
Everything
together.
is artistically there. It's consistent. It's like in The Walking Dead. It's entirely consistent within that world.
In this, it would be like, you're playing Zelda and you're in the forest temple, and then suddenly you have to start messing around with water levels, and you're like,
well, yeah, I guess. But here's a hint. One of the solutions in this puzzle is to cut that thing. Now, this game actually has a physics engine. You actually have to manipulate stuff physically in 3D spaces.
Yeah, I've seen
with
that
a mouse pointer.
With the cage. That's interesting. I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just gonna keep complaining right now, just because we seem to be stuck on another puzzle. Walking into this room immediately, you see this caterpillar guy being attacked by these eyeball spiders. There's nothing that says there's no reason to save this caterpillar guy from these spiders. Look, he's fighting them off himself.
Yeah, he seems to be perfectly fine. They're more of a nuisance, though, than anything. They're not an actual threat to him. All he has to do is nudge in their direction, I said, and they die. He didn't even touch that one. It just died. He just looked at it.
It doesn't feel like the point of this puzzle is really apparent. Therefore, it's harder to find the solution to it. You're just going to mess around with random things until that did something, and then you're gonna go from there.
You know, another weird incongruity with this game. Everything here is miniature, right?
Yeah.
You're miniature, therefore these things are massive. Those things are this. It's a human-sized room, and yet those things should be more massive than they are. You know what I mean? In the background, those teapots in the back shelf, viewers. I played South Park: The Stick of Truth. And you know that guy who stutters a lot?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, not Jimmy. The handicap guy, the guy with the walkers, the strut.
That was Jimmy.
That was Jimmy.
That was Jimmy. Yeah.
No, that's not him. He's blonde. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, I thought you said Timmy. Timmy.
It's Jimmy and Timmy.
I was playing through that scene, and I just couldn't stop laughing. It was totally inappropriate for me to laugh. He was like, "Now go and reclaim your dit. Go and reclaim your dit. Go and reclaim your dit." I love South Park. Sometimes it makes me laugh, even though I shouldn't be laughing.
Oh no, you definitely should be laughing.
No, I don't think I should. I actually got so frustrated with this game that I actually banged my mouse down.
That's what that was.
And it dislodged the batteries in my mouse.
Yeah.
The puzzle in this, actually, if you're still confused while we're still stuck on this one section, is you see those numbers? They represent how many drawers need to be up or down at a given time. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't.
They represent how many drawers need to be up,
right,
out or in at a given time in order for the numbers to disappear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that somehow activates.
Fuck
the fan.
you, Violett.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. And now the caterpillar is free, so now he allows us to enter his domain.
Okay. See, this is not a logical puzzle, I don't think. This doesn't seem to...
Like I said, it's only logical in retrospect.
No, even in retrospect. Okay, yeah, the solution in a vacuum, the numbers meant the shelves needed to be out, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, you close the shelves, the fan spins, the crayons go down, and the caterpillar stops playing his violin. That's not logical.
Viewers, I need you to close your eyes when listening to that sentence. Play it again. Rewind, play that again, close your eyes.
It's not logical. That's...
Nothing about this game. It like I said, look at those backgrounds. Obviously, effort was put into this game.
Yeah.
It's this game will probably hold up visually in the sense of the 2D backgrounds.
And I understand budgets, and I understand deadlines and stuff. I know what it's like to... be working on something and then your supervisor comes around and he's just like, yeah, you've been working on that long enough, you need to stop. And well, it's not finished. I was like, well, it's good enough. That's a big keyword in a lot of these games. Is good enough.
Fuck it, that will do.
Yeah. Just we don't have the budget for that anymore. And a lot of the times, I can understand that. It does take a lot of assets. Of course, you can even see in this, there's a lot of assets. I'm thinking this...
Actually, this is the best puzzle in the game.
Okay.
It has a lot. You see that yellow ball?
Oh, it looks like a Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, it's a logical series of events. You see what happens, you manipulate objects, you see the results clearly on the screen, and you can logically deduct what you're supposed to do and what's supposed to happen. This is the only instance in the game where I can think of where that actually holds true, except for that teapot room.
Right.
And my god. Is
this still going to take a long time?
Yeah. So, it's actually a good thing I brought up the Necronomicon, because you know that feeling of unbearable dread? That actually had symbolic purposes within H.P. Lovecraft's work. What do those trains with those hideously devilish grins have to do with anything?
This seems like a classic example of it's a trope. It's expected. Like, this is Wonderland. People expect to see weird and zany things, and then they just slap them all together.
To me, this is like throwing in a picture of fucking decaying corpses next to teddy bears. It just doesn't work.
It would make more sense if this was like a creepy clown room.
And it isn't. It's just a creepy toy room with poker balls for some reason. Snooker balls. Is that what they call it in Britain? Snooker? Snooker? Or is it France?
I don't know. I'm not worldly.
You're not. He's not worldly, ladies and gentlemen. He's just Canadian.
Yeah, I'm. Here up in the Great White North, we don't bother anyone,
and we don't win Stanley Cups anymore, too.
No.
Let's just take a moment to reflect.
Yeah. It's
been 22 goddamn fucking years. 22 goddamn years. I cried when the Edmonton Oilers lost to the Carolina fucking Hurricanes in 2006.
Yeah.
I cried. Manly tears. And then next year, the Senators lost. So,
to me.
Yeah, you're from Ontario.
Yeah, I don't like any of Ontario's teams. I used to like the Blue Jays for baseball, but then I realized that I didn't like baseball, so I stopped liking the team.
I realized I didn't like a team when I realized I didn't like the sport it played.
Yeah, well, like, it's like, oh, it's baseball. And, you know, when you're a kid, you go see a baseball game or whatever like that. It's cool when you're a kid. Like, anything's cool.
You can see
sorry to baseball fans.
You can see what's happening in this puzzle, though.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, the thing is to dip the ball into to generate cold and water.
You put the water in the train.
Mm-hmm. I actually speed this up a bit because it really is just this for a little while I try to figure out what to do next. Yeah. Then I realize you can open Easy Bake Oven, and which actually has gas lighting tops, which I don't think is a safe thing for children to really be expected to operate.
They can learn.
Don't put your hands in the oven, Timmy. Arr, arr. And just a moment of awkward silence right there.
It's just, well, okay. This puzzle looks like it's a little more thought out and logical than the other ones, but you still gotta watch the goddamn ball roll down the thing, and then it shoots the firecracker, and then the fan spins, and then the weight's dropped, and
you
then
sound
the
like
ball
Bill Cosby.
comes down.
You sound like Bill Cosby.
And then, oh look, the coal's in the train now.
Yeah.
And then everything resets magically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, half finished.
It's like if they just put a little detail, like maybe just a dispenser of balls,
animation.
like a dispenser of balls at the top of the screen right there. That would make sense to me. I would be like, okay.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the main problem this game had during production was budget, or at least being too ambitious with the budget that they had. I mean, you look how many individual assets they had in this game, how many backgrounds they had, and how many of them are completely different. It just makes you wonder, like, they probably had bigger expectations for it than this. At least I hope they did. Oh.
Yeah, strategic cut there, because I just didn't want to discuss that block sliding puzzle.
What's with this room? You just walked through it last time. Is this actually a puzzle?
Yeah, this is a puzzle room, and this actually contains one of the more obnoxious sequences in the game.
Oh.
So I figured out that you have to break out a toothbrush and use it to fix this sink, to get it to fill with water, which to get a plot important item, which logically Violett should be able to fucking see from her vantage point. See that right there? That's an important item to solve a puzzle in this room.
The spoon? Is that a spoon?
No, it's a flute.
It's a flute.
Yeah. It's a flute.
Oh, it looks like the polka flute.
The polka flute.
It does. No, that was one of the okay, yeah, Pokemon and stuff. But the one of the cool things I actually really did like about the new gen games. I don't know if when they started doing this, but like the items all have like little pictures, and you get to see what like an HM and TMs. They're like little CDs. I'm like, oh my god! I always envisioned them like a spray, like opposed to like now you know flamethrower.
You're supposed to use this flute to summon this
Cloth snake,
yes, in order to move something which you logically should have been able to move with your fucking telekinetic powers.
Oh yeah, you have telekinetic powers.
Yes, and I actually tried using the train whistle because it said music, and I was like, hey, train whistles make music too.
Yeah.
And I just completely misread the situation. I was like, oh, why isn't this working?
I see. I see. I don't know what those things in the water are. Beaver sharks.
That comes into things in an obnoxious way in a couple minutes. So the purpose of this puzzle is you're supposed to scare this mouse into dropping the straw. And here's bullshit. In a game where your character can flat out refuse to move for 5-second intervals, it's a timed running puzzle.
Ooh.
You have to get this before the fucking shark eats it. That is the
Look at her slip when she walks. Ugh.
Yeah, look, isn't that the most bullshitty thing you've ever seen in your life, though? This is a character who will flat out refuse to do things. Or refuse to walk areas, and she'll go, and then she'll... Yeah. You can see how excruciating this was.
Clicking on it multiple times?
Yeah, you have to click it multiple times, because she takes bloody forever just to wave her goddamn arms. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, you see how close I was to destruction there. I wonder if I sped this part up.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm very glad that we recorded this beforehand, because I don't think I would be even less interested than how we are right now.
Oh, you wait and see.
Oh, and you have to do it multiple times.
Yep, you have to do this.
He's just gonna nab it, isn't he?
Yeah.
There he goes. Oh, there he goes, you rascal.
You bastard. Then you have to go all the way back up and manipulate the mouse all the way again. Clicking. Oh, this game it wore me down.
Yeah?
It just wore me down. I couldn't take it for much at a time. I eventually had to take week-long breaks from it. And there's me freaking out with the mouse. It's like,
here's another thing here. They could have put these puzzles in any order, and it would not affect anything. It would not affect the story structure so far. It wouldn't affect the difficulty of the puzzle.
Actually, that is, it's just to cut you off there. They actually do. You can go into any room in the Escher room anytime you want.
Oh.
So you can go into any different room.
So that's kind of like the overworld?
Yeah, that is the hub world, essentially. It's just an incredibly confusing hub world.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes!
Yes! I cheered so hard when I finally got this. And then you're supposed to use the spider silk or something that you got earlier.
And you wrap around the...
Yep.
I get it.
And then you use the toothbrush as an oar.
Oh, you use the toothbrush again.
Yeah, even though it has a wide-ass hole in it, conceivably wouldn't really works too well. I wasn't quite sure what to do with this rat at this point.
Yeah. You'd think you, click to the other side of the map and she'd go to the other side of the map.
And that, you remember that amulet at the beginning of the game? That's how it comes into things. You have to reassemble it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how it got torn apart in the first place. You just have to reassemble it.
Well, it's the MacGuffin. It gets torn apart.
Yeah, like the princess in the other castle. It just gets torn up a bit.
It's the Triforce.
Yeah, the Triforce. I've never actually finished the Legend of Zelda game.
None of them?
None of them.
Oh, come on.
I have A Link to the Past for the Game Boy Advance. I just haven't been asked to finish one. And I do feel like I've been... Oh, look, it's not even animating in the water.
At least they put a little
shark thing in there, right?
No. You can see the toothbrush kind of inside the water. I half expect.
Really? Because I didn't see it there.
You can barely see it, but it's there. I have to give them points for something. Okay.
Why are you trying to excuse the developers?
I'm not.
Oh, by the way, there are interesting lore pages scattered around. This thing is actually called, I forget. I think it's called it's not a platypus shark, but there's a lot of lore pages scattered about. They give a nice little bit of information on the world.
Okay.
But again, I must ask, what is the point?
Yeah.
And then it just appears out of nowhere, like in most video games. I suppose I shouldn't rat them too hard. That even happens in Saints Row 4 when you just switch to a weapon, it just disappears. Do you think that do you think that
Where'd
problem...
it go?
He just
He
took it.
just disappeared.
He could have taken it any time before that. He just decided to take it now.
Oh,
And now your raft is
that dude's a
gone.
douche.
Yep. And this is me saying fuck you to this room. Yep, I'm out of here. Oh. You actually have to find all the amulet items for him to actually pull some of these levers to open up new areas of the game.
Okay.
You have to find a golden ring for him, which I think, serendipitously, I have. No, wait, that's another ring you have to find. There's so many fetch quests in this game that it just boggles my mind.
Did you finish this?
Yes.
Is it done in this video?
Yes.
Oh.
This is edited together from 8 hours of gameplay.
Oh, okay.
8 fucking hours.
See, oh, jeez.
Can you even imagine? This is also another obnoxious thing because it combines logic with timing.
I hate timing puzzles personally.
Yeah.
In every game where like I have like a ticking clock noise in the background, it stresses me out.
Well, actually, Child of Light actually does it fairly well because it has a consistent time frame for each timing puzzle.
Yeah.
And you know the boundaries because there are puzzles in that game where you switch a lever and it makes this sound.
Right.
And the faster it goes, the closer it is to closing. That's consistent throughout the entire game. This is an entirely new timing puzzle thrown at you with no previous frame or reference. Mm-hmm. And there's scratching the notes again. Oh, I think I figured it out here. All to get this one little orb. And guess how many times this appears in the game after this?
0.
0.
I was right.
Zilch. It's purely done.
Hey, can you fly?
Nope.
Oh.
Only at one very prescribed instance.
Did it just literally cut to this right now?
No, I cut to this.
Okay.
Just remember, this is an edited video because I didn't want to
I'm not sure which is which anymore because sometimes it legitimately does just jump to the next scene.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Oh, man. Like,
you know what's great about living in Vancouver? The rain.
Oh yeah, it rained yesterday, and it was great because it's just like it's great how it's just so consistent.
Now speaking of rain, here's a water puzzle you have to solve. You have to get a hard hat, or I think it's a key, yes, from that mole, and then you have to solve this puzzle of water pipes over here. But first, here's bullshit. You have to get changed to safe clothes before you do that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, except you go nowhere near heavy machinery at all in this place.
You need your hard hat
for
drowning
deluge of
purposes.
Water. Yes, it'll obviously save you underwater. Yep, here's me speeding. Actually, I kept a lot of these speeded up sections in because I actually really kind of ended up digging the sound of speeded up music. And the sound effects, it was just this cacophony of bullshit that I just found appealing. And there's one of the weights that you have to use to solve the puzzle.
I don't believe I know what the word cacophony means.
I think it means assortment of loud noises.
I've never heard that before.
I just use it because I think it sounds good.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool word.
Mm-hmm. And there, I think I solved the puzzle. I think. Have I? See, this is the problem when your computer crashes 3 months ago and I have to remember all this from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite remember how this video goes at some points, but luckily.
Well then, nice, there we go.
You see a lot of these animations taking such a long time to complete. It's like, could you not have sped it up a bit? I know there's Machinarium. It's like, if your character was moving slow, that was because you forgot to retract him, not because the game was just designed that way.
Yeah, he still kind of waddles around,
But he moves fast enough if you are smart enough to retract him beforehand, right? Yeah. Oh, and you give this guy beer so he can laze about. The story behind these mole people is that they're lazy.
And alcoholics, apparently.
Yep. They're too lazy to do work, and yet they're always surrounded by new projects. I found a plot hole.
It's a metaphor. I don't know. It's probably not.
And you see that soccer ball, you think a telekinetic person would be able to just lift that and maneuver it through a hole, right?
Yeah.
It's melting my brain. There actually are quite a few decent little hidden object elements in this game where you have to solve a puzzle in order to unveil some more of these orbs. Right. I just wish these orbs had anything to do with anything else in the rest of the game. Soccer ball plus mole equals...
Why does he want a soccer ball?
You'll see. Woo!
Nice. Colliding geo right there. Okay.
That's bullshit.
Why didn't you throw the soccer ball at the wood?
These are the marbles.
The marbles.
Don't you realize, Brendan, it's because the game wasn't designed for that.
Oh, of course.
Oh, and here's one of those areas where the snails, they were 3D rendered too, so they just do not fit with the rest of the art design.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's like, and
see, at what point do you look at this and you say, yeah, that's all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, good,
I mean, look,
good.
they already, in the 2D speech bubbles, they already have a decent 2D design.
That snail's not 3D.
Yeah, and that's the best looking thing in the game. I actually noted it in my review. This is actually one of the most impressive looking things in the game. And yet none of the other characters look like they belong in the same universe.
Yeah, well, the crab is randomly 3D.
Yeah. Well, I think this is their way of differentiating between active elements.
Okay, I can buy that.
Yeah, like one of the ways they did it. You actually have to catch 3 crabs for some stupid reason. Ignoring 4 crabs, actually, ignoring the fact that it only said 1 was necessary. And now you lifted up a shoe, despite the fact that you clearly got a power that said you could fly just a couple minutes ago. You bastards.
To be fair, I haven't actually seen her fly.
Yeah, well, you'll only see it once.
Okay.
And here's an old turtle.
Hello.
Who wants some crab soup?
Oh, you're just over there with the crabs.
Yeah, I know.
Alright.
Like I said, the fetch quests in this game become obnoxious. There's actually one later on that made me quit for 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. Nope.
So it's 8 hours of gameplay and it took you... How long?
It took me 8 hours to finish this game. And this is an hour-and-a-half video. You imagine how much I had to cut out?
Yeah, true. Fast forward, cut out. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Grab that ass.
I actually cut out a fair bunch of puzzles, too, from this game. Because I don't want to be one of those Let's Players who just does the entirety of the gameplay. Because for someone who wants to experience the game themselves, they'll at least have a surprise or two coming their way, right?
Yeah.
And all credit to them. Like, I admired certain elements of this game. You can actually hear the music. It's actually pretty good.
Well, this feels as much as a review as it does a Let's Play. I've most Let's Plays I'm not exactly a big fan of.
Yeah.
There is always like an awkward silence.
No, it's like I said, Yahtzee Croshaw does this amazing Let's Play series. Like,
yeah.
He's humorous, but at the same time, he's also cutting and incisive about the game.
Yeah.
And it just works, and Total Biscuit is one of my major influences doing this too. Like, they just cut to the chase, and a lot of people just go on random tangents with no relation to the game.
Like us?
Well, no, we were going on tangents related to the game mechanics and stuff, and the Necronomicon just, like, brought up this issue of artistic dissonance within this thing.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Okay, I see where you were going.
And you saw what I was doing there.
Yeah.
Actually, I like Duke Nukem Forever better than this game.
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, because at least in there, you get to shoot things.
Right.
In a way that causes immediate death. Instead of just waiting through these stupid animation cycles.
But
the puzzle is to get that black ant to the right side.
Yeah, I see.
And it's another timing puzzle, too. And you have to wait for the ant to traipse all the way back from the hole.
Okay.
And, ugh.
Yeah.
So, you know how in some old school adventure games, sometimes puzzles will be solved just by rubbing shit against any object you had in your possession up against anything in a room in order to solve a puzzle.
Yeah, you just take your inventory and then you put all of your inventory on all of the things.
Yeah, brute forcing your way through the puzzle. Now, that actually worked for me in this instance because you actually have to put 3 corks in the holes.
Oh, some things not function as quirks or...
Yeah, when something doesn't function as a puzzle element, she'll flat out refuse to do that in a way that she does, and you actually have to get the ant to retrieve that for some stupid fucking reason.
Oh, you can't pick it up with your psychic powers.
No. Despite the fact that you knocked it from a very, very secure fucking plant root. And instead it decided to go and grab that grass seedling. I actually didn't. Actually, looking back at this video, I remember this puzzle causing me quite some trouble, simply because of those red ants.
What's he doing? Okay.
He's getting food.
Okay. See, this is kind of like these point and click adventures. I know, you hear lots of people being like, this genre of game is dead, or this and that genre of game is dead. I think it's because, you get these games, and they just do the same thing. Like, what has this game done that other point and click adventures have not done?
And done better, to the point, right?
Yeah.
It's like, there are actually a couple point and click adventures I played in the Xbox Live Indie Game service. One was called Decay. You may have heard of that.
Yeah.
Decay. It's a 4-part serial adventure point and click game, but it works so much better than this, even though it looks worse than this.
Yeah.
Like, if you can imagine that. Like, it doesn't look like a great game. It won't age well.
Mm-hmm.
But it has this disturbing atmosphere, and it has a tonality that's consistent. Its gameplay elements fall apart in the 4th chapter for some reason, because they decided to go all puzzles instead of all atmosphere. But it works. It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
And I know, like, a lot of people could be saying, well, how many point-and-click games have you played? Well, do you actually need to play too many games in a genre to have a valid opinion on a game?
Yeah, no kidding. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because I don't play that many strategy or puzzle games because either because the technology I have at my disposal doesn't really allow it, because most strategy games aren't available for Mac for some stupid fucking reason.
You get this kind of like this little circular logic. Like, if you're not allowed to have an opinion on this point and click adventure game, then who exactly are these people making this game for? Are they making it for point and click adventure fans? If that's the case, they've played better. There are definitely better games than this. It's not the best. It's not the best example of its kind.
See,
definitely.
my theory is this game started from being a hidden object game entirely.
Right.
Because a lot of the rooms are built around finding hidden objects and stuff.
Now, I missed this. How did you get the ant to stop going on his fixed position and then actually grab the cork?
Oh, you actually have to manipulate him using your psychic powers.
Oh, like...
You
like
just have to
how
nudge
you could
him.
have done that to the cork?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. You can manipulate living things into doing your bidding, but you can't lift a fucking cork. A thing that presumably weighs less than this friggin' EB Games Edge card subscription I have here. You know, I traded in South Park The Stick of Truth for less than $30, and I just bought it like 2 weeks ago because I hated that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard mixed things on that. I don't know.
Well, it is mixed. It does good writing.
Yeah.
Unlike this game, but it just falls apart in the gameplay aspect. It's too shallow.
Right.
It's like way too shallow. It's like there's one and only one effective attack. I just firebombed the shit out of all the later enemies in the game.
Yeah, optimal strategy.
Yeah, it's like there's only one optimal strategy for a mage to use, and like I couldn't imagine. I didn't even use half the characters in the game because their abilities were useless to me. It's like, what am I gonna do with a party stat boosting character when there's only 2 people in the party? But then I realized Child of Light proved me wrong in that aspect because it actually has that same element, but they just do it so much better.
Right.
So now back to this game. Here's a bullshit puzzle. These birds actually give you a clue to solving a puzzle. They give you a picture of worms. Now, the solution to the puzzle is actually, they said the Roman numeral 7 upside down and backwards.
Okay, sorry, what?
They said the picture in the speech bubble, speech bubble. Here, it'll actually show this.
Okay.
No, it didn't.
Wait, what's the benefit of having the worm there? I missed that too. I'm missing a lot of these things in this puzzle.
Actually, he popped out one of the, I think, an important plot item.
Oh, the thing that was okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that was stuck in there.
I
yeah,
remember.
see, did you see that?
Yes.
Yes. That's the solution to the puzzle. You have to get this to 7. And I got the numbers actually perfectly onto the 7. Like, the hands perfectly onto the 7. Like, perfectly. Turns out they're in a position that is in no relation to the 7 on the thing. And you'll see it here. It's like, here, just watch it closely. Are you watching?
Yes.
Are you watching? Are you watching?
I'm still watching.
Nice music, though.
It's not bad.
Well, I call it nice music, but then I played Machinarium, and I was like, yep, this blows it out of the water.
It's much more ambient.
Yeah.
It's not like...
It's one of those ambient soundtracks, though, that has a lot going for it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, there's lots going on, but it's ambient. I don't know what I'm doing at this point.
I guess I can't complain about the sound in this game. Oh yeah, she's annoying, whatever. But most of it's alright.
Yeah,
I like the little babbly sounds that things make.
Other than her yelp,
yeah,
it's competent sound design. And I just quit from that puzzle for a little bit. And here's an actual logical puzzle here. One of the ones in the game that I actually admire because it actually forces you to actually think about the relationships between objects in the world. I think I already solved this. Well, good thing for you people who haven't played this game yet. But there's so many elements of this game where it hides lots of objects, like in different rooms, and expects you to just figure out where they are in a game where your character moves so slowly, who refuses to do things plainly, where arbitrary restrictions are placed on you. For instance, you can't even visit that royal family until you talk to that guard and wear a silly costume.
Oh? A what costume?
A silly costume.
A silly costume?
A silly costume. And wait till you see how ridiculous that costume is. You will have a laugh riot. I actually didn't realize this for some time, that you could actually get onto this bridge. And that's what partly caused the 8-hour game time. Because I was trying to figure out where
the next area is.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't telegraph shit enough.
The point of those stairs if she's not even gonna step down them properly? Like, it's just, you see that a lot. Like, her feet are slipping, and then there's these stairs, and she's
as I understand, that's always been a problem for video games. They've never been able to properly animate going up and down stairs, or ladders for that matter.
Yeah, but you have like such control with these 2D backgrounds. I mean, you could easily have an animation of here's her walking downstairs, and then
I honestly would have quit the game if that had been the case, because knowing this game, they would have animated it to be so fucking slow.
Probably. But I mean, you see her doing that too, like with the ladder. She was climbing the ladder, and her feet weren't matching up with the rungs. Why don't you just draw the rungs in where her feet is landing?
That brings up an interesting problem I've noticed with games, and here's me speeding up because I wanted to get to the costume part, because look how once you see it, you'll be you have to get an invitation from them for some reason, I forget which. There.
Oh.
You're a leprechaun for some reason. I just
That's odd.
That's odd. Is that all you have to say?
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say?
I don't know. This is
retarded. I just have to say that. Who in their right mind would say that this game was anything? I don't know anything about game design or development, but enlighten me on this. Maybe it's part of the creative process. How does someone not know that their work is complete shit?
You see, that's a weird thing, because these games, they're made by a team of people a lot of times, right? So it's mostly the say of whether things are done or not is up to the leads here. So you have like your typical artist or whatever like that, and they're they're probably, hopefully they're putting in their best work, and they really don't have any control over the final product. Like artists, they're not game designers. The guy who made the background for this, he had nothing to do with the design of the puzzle, the flow of the gameplay. He might have not even have known when during the game this pops up. They would have just told him, they would have given him a map and say, make it look like this, right? So it's kind of, for an artist at least, it's kind of out of your, since it's so out of your control, it's also kind of, you lose a bit of, you don't really baby it, I guess you can say. You see that and you're just like, that's something I worked on. I'm only going to take the things that I worked on and I'm going to show those things off, but I'm not going to like flaunt.
Yeah, I remember this conversation I read between Tom Bissell and some random person at the Dice Awards in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And he's like, what did you do? I did the smoke for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
yeah,
that's impressive.
smoke.
And then he just walked away.
A lot of the times, a lot of people who worked on games, like, unless they're talking to, you're at a party or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I work at Call of Duty, but I work at Call of Duty.
What do you do? I do the beard of price.
When we're talking in
I do the pube hairs.
Yeah, when we're talking in a professional environment, we get very specific about it. It's like, well, what do you do? It's like, oh well, I'm a motion graphics designer for games. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's. I understand the team aspect, but there have been plenty of developers who have developed solely. Like Eric Chahi was a notable guy. He did Another World back in the day, and I think it was Flashback, was it?
I have no idea.
But he developed those games all by himself. He did all the art, he did all the game design, and he was just one person creating that thing.
Fair enough, yeah.
And those games were amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another thing, because these people, they don't work as hive minds.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there is, what's the word I'm looking for? Misconnections.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's bad communication between the game designers,
and then sometimes
the
random elements just sometimes come together magically. Like you play jazz punk, right? No, jazz punk. It is this weird collection of hundreds of different references.
Right.
This differing art styles and stuff, and yet it still holds together quite well. I actually should bring that up.
Okay.
I'll bring that up as one of my example videos.
I'll keep going on about what I was talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, when it's one guy designing a game, like he knows what he wants, right? He's not telling someone else to do something for him. He's not telling them and relying on them to make his creation come to life. And if you can do all the things, if you can make the music and design the game and program it,
I fucking deleted that.
And if you can do all the art, then more power to you. Definitely, that's a thing that you probably can and should do. It'll make your game cost less.
Oh, you see the clues to this puzzle?
Okay.
This is a puzzle that maddened me considerably because it presents the clues flat out. It presents a sequence.
Right.
And then it provides another sequence later on when you're manipulating all these pillars.
Okay.
You see how it works, right? You see how the system of puzzles works, right? A, B, C, and D. Okay. And then it just flat out ignores all those clues.
Really?
Like, the solution to the puzzle is completely inconsistent with what's presented to you as the clues.
Oh.
Now, that pissed me off to no end.
Is that thing something you have to get?
Yeah. No. You actually have to align these the gold pillars in one column.
Oh.
That's the second clue.
Oh.
And you see what it's doing there already. Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Here, I'll show you Child of Light, and you'll see. I'll edit this into the video, listeners, just so you're not thrown for a loop. But you can see how well she's a 3D sprite, and they cel shaded her to make her fit in with the backgrounds.
Yeah. Something they might have
benefited from doing for this, right?
Yeah.
And she just fits so well into the background. Everything else about the game is 2D, but because they had to animate her turning around at the player's will, they had to make her 3D. But they overcame that limitation by cel shading her and making her actually fit into the backgrounds. Yeah. Oh, by the way, that flying power, this is the only time you use it in the game. Watch and learn. That's it.
Whoa.
To collect the lore page.
That
it is literally useless to the game. Like, to the main game. It is useless.
I don't know. But yeah, going back to the other subject, yeah, when you have multiple people working on these projects, a lot of these things kind of, like, you know, the art might not be exactly how the director wants, or, you know, I actually kind of lost my spot, my train of thought here.
It's okay. It's like, look at this lore page. It looks pretty good. It's a basic concept art sketch, but it provides a nice little bit of detail into the world that the rest of the world just doesn't like offer. It describes one later little animal as a dictator, but it shows nothing really pertaining to that character being a dictator. Really, it's just basic tropes and stuff. Oh, and here's me. Look at the position of that hand. It's not even. It's off the 7. For fuck's sakes.
A little bit.
I was pissed. I was literally, I think I did another one of those mouse tantrums where I'm just like, oh, fuck. This is before I started to get better with the game rage, by the way. Oh, by the way, all she does is she just moves the plank that you could have moved psychically.
Yeah, no kidding.
That you could have moved psychically. Look, it just rolls. It just rolls. Look, you could have done this. You're fine.
Oh. So, I don't know.
The good news is we're almost done this video.
There you go.
There you go. Time flies when you're having fun. Look, more lore. I love the lore in this game. It provides some semblance of, I won't say logic, but at least world building consistency.
Yeah.
And that's what this game desperately needed. Oh, by the way, you know what else I hate in games like this? Randomly doors that take you to random locations. With no logical sequence.
Yeah, that's a game design no.
It happens again, and it there's only 3 doors in the next example that I'm going to show.
Yeah.
And it's
unless that's kind of like part of the puzzle, unless it's like a maze. Like, you know, maybe
technically
then,
it is. I mean, some of these doors they do go to the same locations, but
it doesn't need to. It's an unnecessary part of the puzzle. It's designed to just make, you know, give you trial and error. It has nothing to do with the consistency. I mean, not the consistency, but just the logical progression of this puzzle. There's just no reason for it.
Yeah, it's just so much busy work.
Yeah, these doors are just going from one place to the next. It doesn't need to be, you know, this random scatter shot of gameplay elements.
You can see the perspective fucking up a tiny bit there too.
Yeah. No, I've noticed that in other places too.
To borrow a quote from Yahtzee Croshaw, it feels like this game was also designed around one artist designing a load of different backgrounds, and then the game designers just figuring out a way to string them all together.
I can definitely imagine that. That is something that would definitely happen.
Oh, by the way, this is one of the fetch quests. That teapot that had nothing to do with anything else in this room, you have to fill that glass of water and bring it back to that guy.
Oh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I understand when a game is like hand-holding and kind of like condescending to the players, but like it is possible to have the opposite. And a lot of people who are against the, you know, this Call of Duty hand-holding, you know, press this button to do something, it's, if you're against that, like, fine, like that's fine. It's I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just distracted by this. You know, I don't even know what's going on in the video anymore. I'm sorry.
I know it's so illogical that it just makes you lose your mind.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. See, game designers, they always say, "Oh, we don't want any hand holding in our games. Like we don't want that hand holding stuff." And then what they do is it ends up going to this polar opposite, where it's just it becomes illogical. And there's in games that even seem like there's no hand holding, there is a sort of like
structure.
There is direction. There is very psychological elements to the pathing, and
good game design will get rid of any of the problems associated with handholding. I actually liked Call of Duty Ghosts because its handholding had a purpose. It flowed nicely with the rest of the gameplay.
Maybe.
Well, actually, the single player campaign is one of my favorites.
It's still like Rudy Tooty point and shooty.
But
everybody
it's fun for being a Rudy Tooty point and shooty. I recognized it for what it was. It's an action movie. It's trying to be one of those Bruce Willis movies from the 80s. If a game is consistent and it has good enough design where even if it's entirely restrictive, like in Dear Esther, the player still feels like they're doing something meaningful within the logic of the game world. This game just, it's so directionless. And
I don't know.
so all over the place in terms of mechanics and
when a game gets too hand-holding, it ends up being just too Skinner box. You know,
yeah. Look
you
at Battlefield 4.
Press this red button, and then you press the red button. You win. Oh, like
That's why I think people like the Stanley Parable. It's like, no, you're supposed to press the blue button.
yeah. Oh, I really like the Stanley Parable. That was a
Yeah.
great game.
Yeah, it was. I think no, it came out in November. Shit.
Oh, I just realized I never directly answered your question. What is it like to work on a shitty project? I've definitely worked on those. I think I did touch on this. You kind of just you only really show what you did. Like if you have a good enough work ethic, you should always be proud of at least what you've brought
Tried
to the table,
do, right? Yeah.
for these games, even though it's not necessarily your vision, it's not necessarily your direction. And
Take what you can.
Yeah, you take
Give
what you
nothing
can.
back.
You don't give a final product to people because you weren't. You weren't a
just
sound
show
designer.
the skills that that the guy hired you to do, and if you did it correctly,
Yeah,
then...
and people badmouth your game, and a lot of the times you're aware that it's bad, but it's.
But I bet you any money those guys who designed the fire in Alone in the Dark probably got a lot of job offers after that.
Yeah, the fire physics.
The fire physics. I actually played some of that game, and I was planning on doing that for this Let's Play.
They should just made a game out of that.
Yeah,
Fire
the
physics,
fire physics. Actually,
They made a game that was like water physics. The game, what was that called? Hydrophobia.
Hydrophobia. Yeah,
Hydrophobia.
I think it's only $2 on Xbox Live right now.
Oh well, get it while you can.
Yeah. But I actually skipped over 2 or 3 puzzles in this very location because at this point I was just sick of this game. I wanted to end it. I actually sat down and finished the entire game in one gameplay session at one point because I was just tired of it. I was, I'm fucking getting this done because I got to review it for the fucking website. Sometimes I hate my job, and it's not even a paying job.
Yeah. Oh god, I've done game review, not really review, I guess. I had a part-time job. I believe it was with Sega, but I worked through a sort of middleman, and I was given games from other from sort of subsidiary companies that were
So you had to basically you were like
I
that
guess...
person in the demo section in record companies just approving the game.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and
by the way, here's an opera singing frog.
Anyways, I was given these games, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play these games for a job and get paid for it, and I'd get paid, I think it was like $50 or $60 for playing for a week. I was like 16 at the time.
Yeah.
Oh man, I might have been a bit older, but anyways, yeah, it's not fun. It's
not
a lot of the times it's not fun. You don't always get to play your favorite games. Like it's not like it's I'm a game reviewer now, I'm gonna go through my favorite game library and review all these games. They will give you
shitty games.
Your job. They will just you're gonna have to review this.
Yeah.
It's not you don't have any say in it.
Yeah. I bought Typewriter to review for the site. Typewriter, actually. It's called Typewriter.
Oh, I have that on a Humble Indie Bundle.
Yeah, that is a fucking shit game. I spent half an hour on one jump.
Oh.
Half an hour. I died so many goddamn times I considered just quitting game criticism. I was done. I had a tantrum. I had a fucking tantrum. I was like so mad with that game because the physics are all fucked. It's like
really?
Yeah, it's like it tries to be Super Meat Boy while trying to be an educational game. Yeah.
Super education boy.
It actually got me interested in typography too. That's the great failure of that game is it's not a good game, but it got me interested.
I think that's the failure of most bad games is that they're not good games.
Why is that water 3D rendered for some reason?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. And you see the boat when it shows up, and it just like clashes with the whole animation.
Yeah, it's
the whole water animation, and then you see the ripples around the boats. And what?
Yeah, it looks like that liquid metal Terminator.
That
is true. I never noticed that before watching this.
I guess I got going back to that. What's it like working on a ship project? I guess the artists get off easier than the game designers because the game designers kind of have to have the whole game as like, look what I made, and then you give the dude Violett, can you hire me? It's like, well,
you'd kick me out of your house of your life.
Yeah.
You'd probably try to have me killed, and for good reason. That's another quote from from another Let's Player, but goddamn, that was a perfect moment to use it. Oh, by the way, here's me quitting out of the game to look up the walkthrough again.
This is tiring.
Because the flies actually glitched out the first time. They glitched out of the game. So I couldn't find them, so I had to quit out of the game and reboot it twice. Because the flies glitch out. There's lots of glitches in this game. I didn't show because I just edited them out because I was tired of this fucking game by that point.
And
you could see that freaking hilltop obscuring my view of the flies that I just like put it on the ground too, right?
Yeah.
So there's just so many elements of this game, the little nagging things that bring it down.
I don't know. I just have no interest in.
Yeah, you don't ever play this game. If that's the less you can take from this, viewers, please don't play this game. I know they're indie developers, but come on. Rogue Legacy is available. Stanley Parable, Dear Esther, Gone Home. I know those are all pretty much the same gameplay type
and
games.
The funny thing is about the whole working in a team aspect, you can have talented people, and everyone can be a talented person. Don't get me wrong, and you can still come to a shitty final product. It happens. It happens a lot. That's why you always you've seen games, of course, where it's like, made from the developers who brought you so and so classic game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it must be good then.
Like Rage.
yeah. And then you see it, and
I actually like Rage. Actually, it's not a great game by any means. It's just decidedly the most average game you'll ever play in your life. It's good, but it's not good.
Yeah.
I had a fun time with it. I actually like it. I actually like it a lot more than The Last of Us.
Really?
Yeah, because The Last of Us, it tries to be something more than it is, and a lot of people just like it because of the cutscenes. They're very good cutscenes, mind you, and I really do love the story and the music. I actually nominated the music for best soundtrack, and it won. And but people, calm yourselves. Just because a game has a good story does not mean it's a good game.
It all depends on what you're looking for in a game too, right?
Yeah, I mean, BioShock Infinite, for all its flaws, can you imagine not playing the game, not having it infect your head for the next couple weeks?
It didn't hit me as well as much as the first BioShock did.
Yeah, I'm actually playing through the first BioShock because I'm convinced I have my opinion on that game wrong, because it's in my head that I actually didn't like that game that much. So I'm playing through it again just to be sure.
Yeah, even though I did like it better than BioShock Infinite, I will admit I'm not exactly part of the BioShock is the greatest, it's the Jesus of video games.
Super Mario Brothers. Oh, did you see her shadow clipping through the entire thing?
Oh, yeah. You see that in so many games.
Oh my god, I just noticed that too. Jesus.
Look, they almost synced her animation up. It was close.
It was close. It was
good effort.
This close. That symbolizes the whole game, really, right there. That ladder. So close.
We should just cut this video to that one thing, that one animation of her walking across the ladder. It's like,
just run it in a loop.
Yeah. Oh, the psychic powers can pick up a ladder.
Yeah, they can't pick up a fucking cork, but they can pick up a ladder real good.
Oh boy.
Oh, you sons of bitches. And here I got it in my head actually that you had to position the ladder to actually go down the pipes. Turns out that wasn't the case. But Super Mario Brothers, I think, is the best game of all time, even though I've only played it once. But its mechanics are so sublime, and the game is so elegantly designed around the mechanics that it really doesn't matter how good the story is at that point. The game is just so goddamn fun, even 30 years from its release.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought in the next few years,
There's me my mouse again.
Well, I've always thought that in the next few years, while video games are kind of developing as a medium, there's definitely going to be a distinct difference and sort of what's it called, divergence. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Divergence between story-based games and not that story-based games don't have any gameplay, but gameplay-based games, I guess.
Oh, here's the most obnoxious physics puzzle in the game. This rope. You actually have to use your mouse and you have to swish it back and forth.
Oh, jeez, until she catches it.
This is 20 times sped up video. And all those orbs, apparently all the orbs you've been collecting through the entire game were built for this entire moment. There's the villain. She hasn't threatened you much during the entire game. She hasn't done a single thing to you. You drop her down into a furnace as she clips through the metal thing on the way down too.
Oh, come on.
Yep. That is something special.
Still a better ending than Mass Effect.
Oh, you went there. Actually,
Old
I
news,
played
old
that.
news,
I played
yeah.
that game before the extended cut got released. I've been saving it up like I did for Skyrim for at least
Yeah.
another year, so I can play it all again in one swoop. It is just
One swell foop.
yeah. The trilogy is just one of the best things I've ever done.
I love the games personally. Like, yeah, whatever endings.
Oh, by the way, these
does-
parents.
Yeah. Are they evil?
No, she retains her psychic powers for some reason, and her parents never really resolve any arc because they never had one to begin with.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's the end.
and-
Now we can see who's responsible for this fucking atrocity.
Yeah.
You can tell they put more effort into the credits than they did in certain aspects of this game. Are they Polish? It looks like they might be Polish developers. I actually picked this up because the Steam page, the screenshots and the description they had was absolutely sublime. Like, it was a legitimately well done Steam page.
Right.
And it caused me to pick up the game.
Oh, Steam.
Yeah.
Oh,
I should have done my research.
Yeah, a
Once
decent amount of people worked on this.
Yeah, look at all those 2D artists that are just wasted because of a terrible 3D product. I mean, look at this. It's not a bad 2D style.
Yeah, I would have
stuck with it.
I would have stuck with it for sure. Definitely.
But I think maybe one of the issues understandably would have been, how do we navigate this character through the 2D spaces that are designed to be navigated in a 3D way? So I guess that was maybe the point where they threw up their hands in defeat. Oh my god, we just finished it.
Yeah.
But we can still keep talking.
I guess. I think I just need some time.
He needs some time to process what just happened to his
God.
brain.
No, not a good first experience for my first Let's Play. I've never done something like this before.
Well, we had to
So-
start off with a bang, and I
Yeah.
had this video up there for three goddamn months because your computer decided to break it the exact day.
And, just blame me.
Actually, this game's theme of depression actually fits in because the past 2 months, I've been trying to rebuild my life from that. Like, it just hurts. Like, you never want to get depression in your life, man.
Yeah.
All I can say is, to you viewers, the experience of playing this game...
Don't be depressed. That's what Kyle's trying to say.
The experience of playing this game was almost as bad as that fucking depression.
Really?
Yes.
That's a really bad game.
That's a really bad... And when I did my bosses almost wouldn't let me publish the review because I was that harsh on it.
Oh.
And I thankfully got them to push it through, but I compared it to, like, friggin' Superman 64 and E.T. I don't know. Looking back on it, may have been a tad harsh, but at the same time, this has been 8 hours of my life that I'll never get back.
Yeah.
On a game that is decidedly incredibly shitty, and it wasted years worth of time of talented people's careers.
Maybe years. Maybe I don't know how long a game like that would have been in development for.
Ugh.
I wouldn't say years. There was a decent amount of people working on it.
Well,
for a small game like that's there were games done like that at the game school I came from, and they were done by teams 10th of the size, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess I don't know. I guess the main lesson we can draw from Violett is that have tonal consistency in everything. Try and have all your game's elements unify into each other and make them be consistent. Because I couldn't use my powers in certain ways sometimes. That just pissed me off.
oh yeah.
Ugh. And the timing puzzles.
A lot of that comes from people, not willing to let go of their ideas, and they're babying their little dreams and hopes and whatever. They just, a lot of times when games are like that, it's because there's someone behind it who's either unable to take criticism. I don't want to assume anything about this, the people that they make this game.
Let's not assume anything.
Someone's
except
gonna
that they're
send this
completely
to the team.
talentless hacks.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, I've worked on shitty stuff. I can say it's easy to dismiss an entire team of people. No, it's easy. It's easy to dismiss a bad game, and everyone on it is just like the worst people in the world. But it does happen. A lot of the time it's unavoidable. And if you are working in the industry, a lot of the times well, it is unavoidable. Most people have worked on their fair share.
My experience
shitty
with game
games.
development is limited, like I said, but I'd
Yeah.
worked on a soundtrack for a strategy game that never got off the ground, but it's such great potential, but the product
Yeah.
that we have on the that they had on the website was like, it's definitely a student game. Like, you could tell.
Yeah.
And it had so much potential to be something great. It was like a mobile tower defense kind of thing,
Right.
concept. But whatever. Sometimes game concepts just fail, people. Sometimes you just gotta let go.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. When people, the worst thing you can do is stick to a concept. Like if you can defend why you're doing some things, of course, it's important to be able to stick to your guns. But there's a lot of games that started off, movies too. I mean, anything in the entertainment industry. So many things started off as a certain concept and then became something completely different. Like if you want a good example, I read somewhere that in Frozen, I know that's topical, right?
Yeah,
Frozen.
it's
People
like a year
Frozen.
old. It's a year old, but
Hey, okay.
just let it go, people.
It is Let It Go. Actually, that is the story.
segues perfectly.
Let It Go. Apparently, when it was first written in the script, it was I believe the character's name is Elsa, the Snow Queen, going through the town on basically an inhuman rampage, and that's where the whole snowman, like the living snowman monster idea came from. Apparently, this is what I have read. I believe this too, because Wreck-It Ralph kind of started off on shaky ground as well. In
And
Wreck-It
yet that
Ralph,
movie turned out so good.
just on a quick tangent, in Wreck-It Ralph, originally to transport themselves around, they would use toilets. Weird, right?
What?
Anyways, in Frozen, so they had said to these not the sound guys, the writers of Let It Go, who were award-winning songwriters. They said write us this song. This is what's happening. This is what's going on, and they got the song back, and it was Let It Go. That song would not have gone with the original concept, and if they stuck to their guns, that's exactly... Frozen would have had the same problems as Violett.
That would have been like
did
putting
right
the
now.
Archie Sugar right next to a friggin' death metal music video.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, basically.
you want to know a fun thing to do is turning off the volume on a children's show and playing death metal over it. You'll not believe how well that stuff syncs up. It's like, I remember one time one person put Cannibal Corpse over Dora the Explorer. It was amazing.
I can see it.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
Every time she opened her mouth, it was like, oh.
But yeah.
And it happened to be one of those episodes where actually there was a leopard chasing the blue monkey at the same time, so it was literally a death-defying situation with death metal on top. And with that, I guess we should close, viewers, before we go off on too many tangents.
Yeah.
This has been Captain Obvious.
Hello.
And Kyle Arsenal. Why do I get my original name and he doesn't get his name? Well, because I want to protect his anonymity. Anonymity.
Yeah, there we go. You're
There.
not allowed to know who I am.
Yeah, so please send
maybe-
all hate mail to Captain Obvious.
Maybe someday, you can all know.
Maybe someday you and him can be friends, viewers.
Maybe.
Good night.